A very warm welcome to all of you. In this section, we would be predominantly focusing on what is expected for your 2021 examination. Now, for that, we have created a separate playlist, and that is NTA Net 2021 Expected Questions playlist. So, in this playlist, we have covered the major topics which were basically asked in your 2020 examination and are probable for your 2021 examination. So, topics like NIRF ranking is very important. It has been released just yesterday, but there can be probability you have questions from NIRF ranking. So cover this topic very carefully since it's an online examination now. Across the various parameters, we have seen that very recent questions are also asked for your examination. Then we have covered certain quick topics where we have covered the expected series. Okay, so it is basically for environment, for education. We have covered topics like those, so those are important. Cover all these topics carefully. The next is questions related to the types of questions. Now there were questions on this topic in 2020 examination. So across all the 10 sets that we have evaluated for 2020, we have seen questions from this section. So again, a very important topic that you must cover. Then this is one of the sample lectures, so just you can go through that. The next is Gang's instructional event. Now Gang's instructional event is an important topic. It's basically talking about the learning hierarchies, the learning methods. So a very important topic to cover. There can be questions related to Gang's theory again. So Gagne's theory, a very important topic. There were numerous questions from this topic in the previous episodes that we have mentioned. So cover this topic carefully. Then again, there are certain series of expected topics as mentioned before. Past paper solutions we have covered across all segments, the most important type of questions which were asked. So this talks about, let's say, some important questions from computers, some important questions from communication. So past paper solutions 2020, we have discussed few of those here. The complete material is available at doorstep. So all the 10 sets, all the 50 questions from each of the sets are solved there. These are just some of the dummy questions. The kind of questions which had come up in 2020, and that gives you an idea. So all the questions are available here for free. So questions you can just go through to get an idea about what kind of topics you need to prepare. As I always mention, 1/3 of your weightage is given to paper 1. So paper 1 is indeed a very important topic. I've seen students securing around 46 correct in paper 1, and with a very nominal score in paper 2, they were able to qualify NET. So if you have a good score with paper 1, I definitely believe that you can qualify JRF with a very good marks once you have gone through the various papers and the various questions here, because paper 1 gives you a scoring edge. Most of the students lack here because the variety of the questions that come up are very high. So there are questions from philosophy, there are questions from education. So students from a philosophy background would probably be able to solve those correctly, but when it comes to questions from environment, they lack, and that happens with the students from other stream as well. So it's very important to have a good kind of commitment over all the topics. So this becomes a very important topic. Now under logic, Indian logic is one of the topics that have been focused definitely with very high importance these days. Samvyapti, Asamvyapti, the equivalent concomitance is one of the major topics that has been asked across all the net papers for 2020. So Indian logic, Indian philosophy becomes important. Types of Anuman, the Purvavrat, Sesavat, Kevalyanvay. So those are some of the again important topics that you need to cover. There were questions related to role of women in Vedic period. We have covered a separate lecture on that, which would be probably live on 17 September. So you can go through that as well. That is a very important topic, the role of women in Vedic period, the role of ancient universities, the Takshila University, Nalanda University, who established them. Some of the universities were established during the same period. So same ruler or same scholars used to shift from one university to another, and that's kind of one of the topics that you must cover definitely very important for this examination as well. Okay, coming on next, we have topics which pertain to higher education. So higher education, numerous schemes have been released. Some of the important ones that we would discuss here is the INSET scheme, that is Integrated National School Education Treasury, a very important topic. Similarly, we have the apprenticeship scheme, which is the Shreyas scheme, again a very important topic. Cover this carefully. Then there are courses like dual degree, joint degree, twinning program. Then there is double majors. What are those? Which universities offer those, and what is the difference? What is the concept of cluster university? The new central university established in Ladakh, the rankings across various universities is important. So those are some of the major topics that you must definitely cover. Okay, so that is again a very important concept that you need to follow. Coming on next, we have topics like predatory journal. Now this was one of the important topics that was asked in 2020 examination. So journals, types of journals, impact factor, the scopus elseviers, and how the scoring is done, what is the J factor, understanding concepts related to research ethics, very important. Cover those topics very carefully. Clear? The next is some new schemes. For example, Vidwan is a new scheme which is an expert database which has been created by the government. Similarly, we have schemes like STARS, schemes like Imprint, FOSE, the softwares which are used, the MOOC courses, the Swayam Prabha, then Millennium Development Goals, Sustainable Development Goals, what are JNVs, Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalayas, how are they important, what is their role, how the admission process takes place. Then we have topics like digital repositories, so ePathshala is one of those. Then we have the National Digital Library of India, how does that function, Shala Asmita. So those are some of the important topics that you cover. So these are the topics. For the expected topics that I have mentioned are probably those which have been contemporary, have been in news, and are not part of your conventional books which are available for your paper 1. So you need to focus that the changing patterns have brought a lot of contemporary information into the syllabi. So be very updated with the latest contents, latest developments, and very recent topics, as I always mention, can also be asked for your NET examination. Also, not only for your paper 1, I would recommend for your paper 2 as well. Contemporary information becomes very important, specifically for students from environmental science, geography background, from psychology, recent researchers, education, anthropology, sociology. We have seen numerous questions which are based on research aptitude, numerous questions which are based on contemporary development. So cover those carefully. Then I have a question from Arita asking about reasoning and maths questions. So reasoning, I would recommend cover simple interest, compound interest, profit and loss problems, work and time problems. These are some of the basic problems that are asked. Then basic questions, very scoring, just practice is important. So number series, alphabet series, the general reasoning questions which are commonly asked for most of your examinations. So cover these number series, alphabet series carefully, and you would be definitely benefiting from it. 5 questions from data interpretation. 3 of these are average in nature, 1 or 2 simple, 1 or 2 average, and 1 or 2 are complex. But remember, in data interpretation you can save time, because calculations that you are doing for the first one would be utilized and should be saved or clearly written somewhere, so that you can utilize that for the next coming question. Sometimes it so happens that the same solution that you have done for the first question can be utilized for second and third questions as well. Clear? There is a question from SM: how many months current affairs will come in the upcoming October exam? So October exam, I say current affairs up to September this year is important, very important. Okay, so don't think that I should go only till June or only till July. No, with changing patterns you have very contemporary questions that have been asked in 2020 as well, so probability is very high for 2021 as well. Okay, there is next question about the tips for reading comprehension. Okay, reading comprehension, Arita, is a topic which is not only nowadays part of your paper 1 but also part of your paper 2 as well. Now what is the difference? Let me clarify. For your paper 1, when it comes, you would have the questions that could be answered directly from the passage. The thing is, it's a little time consuming because passages nowadays are little lengthy in nature. Also, the questions are direct, so the answer lies within the passage, so it's much more clearer there. However, when you have comprehension for paper 2, the comprehension passage just gives you an outline about the context that is being asked, and then you would have to utilize your extra knowledge, extra formulas if it is a numerical, in order to solve the paper 2 comprehension problem. So paper 2 comprehension problem gives you an overall vision through which there could be numericals that could be asked, through which there could be more details which could be asked. Clear? There is another question: when can we expect the admit card? So admit card should be available probably by the end of this month maximum. So you would have the notification details which would be available on the official channel. So just keep in pace with the official channel and the updates on it. Arita again has a question: what is the cutoff? Now Arita, I have taken a separate lecture where I have explained to students that you should not at all go by cutoffs. Previous cutoffs do not matter. Why? Firstly, because the level of difficulty with the question paper changes. The level of students appearing for the exams are different. Okay. Now it can be a scenario that for the first exam, let's say the 2020 examination that happened, the questions were relatively easy, so the cutoff could be higher. But for 2021, the paper could be extremely difficult and the cutoffs could just turn out to be 50% of what it was. Probably not that big gap, but yes, there can be a huge gap. So what I definitely recommend is, do not go by cutoffs, do not go by anyone else who is telling you about cutoffs even after you have appeared for the examination. Just forget, give your exam, forget, and start preparing for whatsoever is next in your life. Or if you are not sure, then start preparing for the next net as well. But do not waste your time in analyzing the paper just for cutoffs, that I am lacking with 1 marks, I am lacking with 1 question, and if this is the cutoff I would qualify. No. None of the students, none of the institutions can tell you the exact cutoff. The reason being, you have so many students appearing India-wide and it's very, very difficult to have a proper analysis across all subjects. So don't just get diverted by it. There is no logic, I would definitely say, to get distracted by cutoffs. Clear? Nasiba has a question: what all areas would be covered in Indian logic? So Indian logic, in our complete video course we have covered those, but if you want to have an outline, you can just check out one of the other playlists that we have that's specifically targeted to logical reasoning. So in that logical reasoning we have covered both Western logic and Indian logic. So cover those topics at least, mainly the fallacies, the comparative studies between Western fallacies and Indian fallacies, a very important topic. Usually examples are given, and if you are not clear with the topics, if you have just memorized the definitions of the fallacies, you would probably not be able to solve the questions at all. So you have to have an in-depth understanding of each of the fallacies and a comparable study of the Western fallacy with the Indian fallacy. That's one of the major questions that is asked. Very, very important. Okay. Sahil has a question: where can we get the current contemporary issues? So as mentioned, many of those we have covered here, and then in the doubt resolution classes and in the complete course videos we have covered all of the topics which have been important this time. Arita has a question: will it be wise to solve PhD entrance geography paper of JNU for NET? Definitely all questions for any competitive exams that you have appeared for geography would be applicable for geography here. Not only geography, for any subject that you are appearing. If there is a student appearing for economics PhD entrance, then the same information would be applied here as well. The reason being, the economics questions, the level remains the more or less the same. Net is a little difficult as compared to your CU set or another PhD entrance, but again there you have research questions. So again you have the research questions here. So that research part would be overlapping section for your paper 1, which would be definitely beneficial. Thomas, yes, if you are in your masters, if you have ticked the category of appearing, not appeared candidate, then definitely you have brighter chances for JRF. This time, as I repeat again, the official notification has shown that there would be double JRF seats. They have not mentioned about net. But yes, for JRF, the May set and the December set, so both of those, the October set would be merged. So double number of JRF would be released. So definitely you should prepare well for this exam at this point of time. Sabur, definitely we have the study material, the link for which is available. You can just check that out. So you can cover the study material in next 20 days. It shouldn't be an issue. So those were some of the topics that I have addressed for today. If you have any other questions, any other doubts regarding your NET examination, any hesitation regarding any specific preparation, feel free to contact us. You can directly reach to me at my personal email ID or contact at our official email ID. Either of that is fine. You can also connect to our phone line for any specific queries. Jilu has a question. Congratulations Jilu, that you were part of the 2018 online classes and you have qualified. You are now trying to attempt for JRF, and definitely Jilu, the syllabus has changed a lot. You have new topics which are added in the syllabus. So if you are already done with the old syllabus, I would definitely recommend that you add on to the new topics, since there has been a gap as well. 2018 to 2021 is a long time, so there is a gap of 3 years. Many students face this gap, so focus on the new topics. And the most important thing I would recommend Jilu is actually solve the last 3 years papers. So last 3 years papers, any of the subjects are available there, so you can just go through those question papers and try to understand what kind of questions are part of the new syllabus which is there, and you would automatically get an idea what topics you need to focus here. Okay, Kamal Thakur has a question about JNU PhD geography entrance, how to cover. So if you are covering your net geography, you are already done with your PhD entrance for your geography for either JNU, CU set or any other entrance exam that you are giving. Also cover the research section, research and teaching aptitude very carefully. Lots and lots of questions from research and applicative questions from research aptitude are usually asked. There is another question. I'm little anxious for the exam. What can we do? So the best thing to remove the anxiety when you are left with less number of days is go through the past papers, try to solve it, or sample papers, sample questions, try to solve it. Focus on the areas where you are weak. The areas where you are doing okay or good, just ignore that because you are already confident that you can solve that. Now focus on the sections where you are weak. At least for the next 5 to 10 days, focus on that section, because we usually have a tendency to keep it towards the end. Please don't do that. Focus on those topics right now, and this would give you a boost that okay, now I am more confident with these topics. Those can be the topics where a lot of applicative or understanding concepts are required. So cover those carefully. There is another question, where would be the paper 1 video course be conducted? So the video course that we provide is online, and it is a pre-recorded video course, but we would have one live class before your coming examination, where all the doubts that the students are sending to me right now have been collected, and those would be discussed, and those doubts are from varied dimensions, from the philosophical sections, mainly from the philosophical sections, and mathematical and reasoning sections. So those would be covered extensively. If required, we could probably take 2 or more classes for the same, and the students who are registered would be intimated through the email for the joining the lectures. There is another question from from Thomas. I select both NET and JRF, but if I don't qualify JRF and come under NET cutoff, yes, you would be qualifying NET. It does not mean if you are applying for NET and JRF both, then you have to qualify NET and JRF or your NET won't be valid. It's not that. The NET and JRF applies only to a criteria that you are eligible and you find yourself capable of applying for NET and JRF both. It does not mean that if you are not able to qualify JRF, your NET also won't be taken into account, not at all. So definitely apply for both the categories if you are eligible to apply. Kamal has a question. The geography research section is too tough. If you can cover the UGC NET questions that we have covered in the model sections, I hope you should be able to cover the geography research section. Probably the kind of questions are very similar to what are asked in UGC, and a little of numerical questions are there specifically for your JNU entrance examination. Applied questions and research based questions are there, which are basically statistical or numerical, we can say. So those have to be covered. Okay. There is another question from Sahil. Is there any hard and fast rule to cover all thought questions for paper 2? Now, if you are talking about geographical thought, if you are a student of geography talking about geographical thought, or you are a student of polity talking about political thought, basically it's a concept that this topic is historical, the topic which pertains to history of any subject. It's a scoring topic indeed, and we have compiled all the list in our study material. So if you can go through that, probably all of those questions can be covered, or you can yourself get through the various past papers and start compiling the kind of topics. Sometimes it so happens that there are kind of different questions which are asked from various parameters, which are either new researches in the field in which you are appearing, so it could be geography, economics, polity, or whatsoever, and there can be chances that there are topics which are not that common. The books that have been written are not that common books in that subject, so you have to actually go through it. You can just keep some tag notes on your wall and try to memorize it when and where possible. Okay. There is another question, paper 2 tourism. So again, tourism, you have to go through the past paper questions. We have the tourism past papers and the study material which is available on the link, so you can refer that, and we also have the book list, so you can go through the book list and see which books you need to refer. There is another question, madam, at the time application form 2NET is possible or not? Application for 2NET is possible definitely, but the thing is you have to see whether those two are not overlapping. Now with this online version you have a benefit. Previously when there was offline version, there was no scope of appearing for 2NET simultaneously because all the nets used to happen on the same day. Now here, since you have a window which is there, from this date to this date you would have your NET examinations. If your subject do not overlap on the same day, you can appear for two subjects, not at all an issue. There is not limitation from the government side that you cannot apply for 2NET simultaneously. Clear? So it's just your limitation or the schedule limitation that can be a case. Where to study history NET? Again, the link that we have mentioned in the comment section would have the details for most of the subjects which are there for NET, so you can refer the link here. Thanks Sangeeta for the appreciation. Then there is a question about English literature. How should I prepare the major part? Again, this time we have seen that English literature, lots of questions from research have been asked, and literary critics, a newly introduced topic after 2019, has been focused a lot. So we have also taken one of the analysis video for 2020 where we have talked about English literature analysis. Just refer that, and then again the link below has the details for it. Shubham, again I would refer you that you go through the links for the past papers and the study material and the book list. I hope that would be helpful for you. So Aman, definitely there are numerous books for paper 1 in the market. If you are already referring any of the material, I would definitely recommend stick to it, but make sure the material and the content is authentic and the publications are standardized publications. if you have not started, you can refer the study material link which is available here as well. Okay, Kamal, again for the last 10 days I would definitely recommend for any exam that you are giving, solve the past papers definitely. That would give you a detailed idea about how to understand the questions, what to cover, and what kind of questions need to be attempted. Okay, so I believe that was for today, and you should definitely start your practice right away. We are always there for you, so any questions, any doubt, don't hesitate to connect to us. Even if you want a one-on-one scheduling or any kind of consultation or counseling, we are available for that. Feel free to connect back. Wish you a very good luck for your preparation. Stay tuned. Have a wonderful day ahead.